Okay, guys, we're on a my last live stream got canceled, so we're just gonna go right into this new live stream because the old live stream we had some internet issues, so I was able to fix it. But we're looking at the predictions for March 2022. And as you guys can see, everything is already super crazy this month. And this is because we have Rahu changing signs. So Rahu, it was in the sign of Taurus on March 17th. It's going to be entering the sign of Aries. So you can see the effects of these karmic node changes about a month before you even see the node change signs. So this is very, very important, especially when you guys look at your individual charts, when you guys calculate your own lagna and you calculate your own moon sign. This is going to be really important for you guys to look at. I have a little bit of a presentation for you guys. This month is going to be a really dramatic month, and I'm going to warn you guys first about this first week of April is also going to be very intense. So we have things picking up and getting quite intense. Just so you guys know, I practice Vedic astrology using the sidereal zodiac. I don't use the Western tropical zodiac, and I still have that issue occasionally, especially when I do TikTok videos of astrologers saying, no, Rahu's not in, not going into Aries. That's not true, and they're using the tropical zodiac. But I use the Vedic sidereal zodiac. So your sign may be different when you calculate your sign using Vedic astrology. Just wanted to let you guys know. Also, guys, if you guys are interested in a reading with me, please check out the details below. And you guys can book those through my website. And it's really easy. I do those on Zoom, or you can have a recorded reading that you listen to at your own convenience. Also, guys, like and subscribe. My goal is 10,000 subscribers. We're kind of at a turtle pace right now, but I guess in that story of the turtle and the hare, the turtle wins the race, right? Slow and steady right now, I guess, is the way things are going. So, guys, I'm going to go explain the world situation a little bit, and we're going to break that down because this really is an interesting situation. And it's so interesting that in March of 2020, there was this narrative of the pandemic, right? And that was in the news literally for 2 years straight. It was all about the pandemic and everything happening with that. And now, literally, it seems like within weeks, we're actually changing from the pandemic into the war narrative, and it's changing really fast. And so there's a lot of credence to people that believe we live in some sort of holographic matrix reality. And I know it sounds very bizarre, but when we look at Vedic astrology and we look at divination, we're really looking at energy patterns. So we live in this giant energy, this giant energetic place with all these energy patterns moving. So it's very, very interesting. So the world situation, we're going to go take a look at that, guys. War started in Ukraine. I'm sure you guys are seeing it all over the news. The West has created many financial sanctions for Russia as a result of the invasion. Massive karmic shift of narratives. Pandemic narrative is receding, war narrative is increasing. This all happens within 1 month of Rahu Ketu shifting signs. Rahu shifts into Aries on March 17th, 2022. So I want you guys to be aware that you notice that it's changing very fast. This is a really intense, massive energy shift. I mean, it's not even March 17th yet. We already see this shift happening. Aries is a little bit scary. I'm not going to, I can't fudge around that. Aries is the sign of war, of conquest, and Rahu expands those things. And Rahu tends to be a malefic influence within the chart, okay? So we can definitely see war. And in many ways, we're already in a world war. So I'm titling this video a world war, but we're already in it, guys. Even though this is manifesting physically as Russia invading Ukraine, we're already in this world war. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. You guys, part of this whole situation that we find ourselves in with the Rahu changing signs and then Saturn changing signs in April is there's also a lot of geopolitical shifts over the last several years. China's influence has been increasing both economically and militarily. Most of the United States manufacturing has been outsourced to countries like China, India, Latin America, and so on. Inflation is nearly at 8% in the United States, and the average wage only increases an average of 3% every year. Russia and China have strengthened ties, new struggles for a top power in the world. And that's what I think this is about. At a very primitive level, all this stuff that's happening right now is about countries trying to create like a new world order, so to speak. They're trying to see who's going to be the new, top dog of the world. And that's really what's going on. And unfortunately, we still have a lot of those primitive instincts of there always wants to be someone that wants to be king of the hill. And so that's what we see right now. So China's on the rise. Russia is on the rise. Russia collapsed. Soviet Union collapsed back in 91, but now they've made a lot of changes, and they are becoming a power to contend with again. So let's talk about Rahu and Aries, guys. So Rahu and Aries, guys, it's going to be in Aries from March 17th, 2022, all the way to November 28th, 2023. 18 months. And remember, guys, when we talk about Aries, we're talking about Mars. And so I wrote that. Mars is not interested in talk. Okay. So we got Rahu entering Aries, which is Mars's sign. And then we're going to have Ketu going from Scorpio into Libra. Okay. So think of that. Aries is not about talking. It's not about a lot of talk. It's about action. It's about what are you doing? What are you physically doing in the world? Libra is the sign of negotiation and talk, but Ketu's there, and Ketu tends to get rid of those things. It tends to evaporate those kind of things. So we're seeing this is more about action, less talk this next 18 months. So we're going to see that as a worldwide environment that we're going into. It's more about action. We're going to see a lot more action. Action on all levels. So war and innovation. Energy is the yang energy, is being manifested into the environment. The old order is trying to cling, and new innovation replaces it. Cryptos are going to take off. So I did want to bring up cryptos very shortly. I'm not going to bring up specific cryptos in this video, but I want to let you guys know that the cryptos, they're going to take off during this next 18 months. I would have to look at each crypto specifically to see what happens, but in general, you're going to see a lot of new cryptocurrencies, especially with these new forms of warfare coming out there, guys. We got cyber warfare. So we're going to be focused a lot on new technologies, new security. What is the safest way to hold a digital asset is really going to be what makes a lot of money during this Aries period, okay? We also have a lot of dangers coming on. Next 18 months, we could see artificial intelligence really start to come online. And we know that the superpowers have already been looking into AI. We also have the dangers of quantum computing. So quantum computers could make a lot of cryptos that don't have security as a main feature, go into the dustbin of histories if quantum computers are able to hack those cryptocurrencies, okay? So we have to look at the later generations of cryptocurrencies are going to survive through this 18 months of Aries. So we're going to talk about that, guys. This is not your grandpa's kind of warfare, this warfare that we're going into. We are already in a world war. The war is being fought on a financial, economic, information, and cyber warfare level. I expect major cyber attacks. AI will be introduced to the world. Cryptocurrencies that favor strong security will be favored during this time. There's a danger of quantum computers to weak cryptocurrencies, guys. So this is like not a joke. So, I just don't feel that the older cryptocurrencies, they're going to hold up to this new level of quantum computing and artificial intelligence. I don't know. So they're going to have to be up to date. The technology is going to improve dramatically during the next 18 months because Aries is all about innovation. Okay, innovation. Okay, so we're going to talk about also, guys, and I see a question in the chat. Lolo Zoo's asking, do you talk about Digibyte more decentralized and secure than Bitcoin? Specifically, I'm not talking about anything specific right now, but Bitcoin is, Bitcoin is seen as an older cryptocurrency, and I know a lot of you guys are aware of that. Bitcoin's very old, so I'm thinking that there's going to be, Bitcoin, I don't feel is going to be around forever. It's eventually with the quantum computers, it might be less secure. And that's always an issue. You need to have something very up to date and secure. You guys, we're going to talk a little bit about the Venus-Mars conjunction this month. I want you guys to be aware of that. Venus and Mars is going to be the possibility there might be a ceasefire in the Ukraine. Not the Ukraine, sorry, Ukraine. I saw some people doing grammar corrections on it. Some people call it the Ukraine, and it's just supposed to be called Ukraine. So before anyone comments, I know. Let's go to Venus-Mars conjunction, guys. That started back on February 10th, guys. So that was last month. And then this conjunction continues until March 24th. So this is where I see all the way until March 24th, there's a possibility of a ceasefire or a peace deal. So when they're having these meetings right now, the Russian government and the Ukrainian government are meeting in Belarus and having these talks. There's a possibility there might be a ceasefire. Okay, that might actually come out of all this. So I want you guys to be aware there's a possibility, but it's not guaranteed. Because this could develop, if that period passes, it could develop into a worse conflict. Especially, guys, we have a very dangerous period coming up in April, okay, where things could tend to escalate more, okay? Even if there's a ceasefire, guys, I want you guys to be aware of that even if there's a physical ceasefire, this war might still continue on many levels. Cyber, digital, information. This war is going to keep going on some form, okay? Even if the physical fighting stops on the physical plane. Remember, guys, if you guys read something like Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, you'll read about there's different planes of reality, okay? You have the physical reality, you have the etheric, the astral, the causal planes. So there's different planes of reality, and the physical plane is the slowest plane of things manifesting on. But there's these other planes of existence where we exist as multidimensional beings. I want you to be aware of that. Let's talk about the dangerous dates, guys. I gotta tell you guys about these now. Even though this is the first week of April, you have to know about it now because there's going to be no time for me to put out a video telling you about the dangerous dates with the first week of April. So first week of April, guys, we got the Mars and Saturn conjunction. This is going to be March 30th, 2022 to April 8th, 2022, with the peak danger being around April 4th, 2022. Guys, Mars and Saturn, they hate each other. These planets do not like each other. So we have like Saturn's like the old order. Saturn's like wants to keep the old system in place. Saturn's about preserving things, not innovation. Mars is the complete opposite. Mars is an aggressive planet. Mars is about innovation. Mars wants new things. It doesn't want the old order. It thinks the old order is obsolete. So we have these two like energy patterns clashing, okay? Mars and Saturn. This is very serious, guys. Especially consider everything around it. So Rahu's changing signs. We have Saturn changing signs in April, and we have this Mars and Saturn conjunction happening, okay? So there's a lot of energies clashing here. So this is going to be, guys, the Mars-Saturn conjunction could create dangerous circumstances. And so I'm seeing a possibility of attacks during this time, volcanoes erupting, earthquakes, and tsunamis during this time. So I want you guys to be aware, I keep thinking, and I'm feeling like there's going to be some sort of cyber attacks associated with this. I feel like it's going to be a very scary time the next couple months. I don't mean to... I've seen people on some of my channels say, I'm fear-mongering, and I'm not fear-mongering, guys. I'm getting people, it's not fear-mongering to know reality, to deal with reality as you see it, okay? So a lot of spiritual teachers say you can't deny reality. You have to face reality in the now present moment head on, okay? That means facing the good, the bad, the ugly, okay? This reality has everything in it. We have good, we have bad. So It's not those people that sell you just love and light. That's a little bit of the false light agenda. Just thinking that everything is love and light and that you never deal with bad people or bad situations where you got to take charge of those situations. This is Earth school, third density. We have to learn these things. We have to learn to stand up for ourselves. We have to learn sometimes life isn't pretty. So that's part of why we're here learning all these things, okay? And that's part of why there's this duality. So even if you are non-dual and you don't see anything as good or bad, the fact is non-dual, people see things in a non-dual way. So there's a story of a famous teacher, and I believe it's a Zen story where the student said, do you see, since you're so at peace with everything and see everything as one, do you ever see danger? And the Zen master picked up a salt shaker, threw it at the student, and the student caught it and said, why did you try to catch that salt shaker if it's not real? If it's Maya, if it's illusion, why did you catch it? You're saying it's not real. So a lot of teachers are out there saying, this is all illusion, which is true. But if a charging elephant is coming at you, you're still going to get out of the way of the charging elephant, aren't you? So that's what I mean by this. We have to see reality as it's presented to us, and we have to deal with that in that way. The other thing, guys, that we have going on is we have the Pluto return in the US chart. And guys, a lot of astrologers have been talking about this, so this is a big deal. I mean, the Pluto return in the USA chart, guys, Pluto is within 3 degrees of the USA natal Pluto. It isn't exact. I saw some astrologers saying like this was exact. It's not exact. Pluto is like 6 degrees of Capricorn in the US chart, and Pluto's currently at about 3 degrees, 3 to 4 degrees of it, 3 to 4 degrees. So it's not an exact, but usually within a 3-degree orb of planets, usually there's significant influence there. So definitely, this is a very long-term transit, and it's going to have massive consequences to everything going on. So let's go check that out again. Pluto is within 3 degrees of US natal Pluto. Tremendous and cataclysmic shifts in government and financial systems. This coincides with all the danger of Rahu and Aries. This increases the danger of a war because Saturn, which represents government, corporate, financial institution, always wants to preserve themselves. So Pluto is all about revolution, about changing things. So Pluto is all about changing the government, changing the financial institutions, the corporations, how everything works. And governments are typically represented by the planet Saturn. They want to cling on to the old ways. That's why you tend to see, when you get a lot of politicians, you tend to see, or board executives, they tend to be older people. It's all about the Saturn mentality of working your way up these stepwise hierarchies. That's what Saturn is. So they think in a very conservative way that usually deals with the past. So that's why governments and hierarchies are so slow to change, okay? It's self-preservation. They want to preserve the power structure. So we're going to be seeing a lot of that going on. We're going to see a lot of these new technologies, cryptocurrencies, all types of things like this. And it's going to be interesting to watch how this plays with the old, money systems. So even though, there's going to be a lot of countries that may have to, go to cryptocurrencies for their survival. So this is almost like this is forced innovation for a lot of people. You guys, I also want to tell you guys to be safe this next month. I really do foresee some sort of cyber attack or something happening in the next month. Hopefully it doesn't happen. Hopefully I'm wrong. Those are predictions where, hopefully I'm wrong. So it doesn't happen because we don't want our day-to-day life disrupted. But these are changes that on a lot of levels that we have to deal with, because reality is that way. We have to, the divine doesn't like things to be stagnant. Okay, so this opportunity for change is changing the karmic playing field for all of us. Things maybe have been stagnant for too long, and the universe sees the stagnant. Okay, universe enters in new inputs into the simulation. Okay, because it wants to see growth. It wants to see spiritual growth in all of us. You guys, thank you so much. Christopher's asking, is there, okay guys, I have a question in the chat. Christopher's asking, is there a potential for a nuclear attack? Very much so. And I don't want to be like I said, I don't want to be a fear monger here, but there's a potential of some sort of nuclear, especially I see around the time of that first week of April. There's definitely a chance there, guys. And, you know, I need to review the whole year, but there's definitely a chance of something really big and catastrophic happening. Something we have never seen before. Because if you're looking at it, guys, it's not just that Mars and Saturn are going to be conjunct in the sign of Capricorn, but Pluto's there. Okay? So there's just all this energy, and also that shift of Rahu into Aries. There's all this energy there, and it's very much possible we could see some sort of nuclear activity. Hopefully it doesn't get to that. But also I've heard and I've seen when I've been reading forums and watching other YouTube videos, a lot of people say there could be a lot of damage caused through a cyber attack. A cyber attack could, if it hit the right things, could do a lot of damage, just as much as you know, one of these big nuclear devices, really. So we have to be careful of that. So I want you guys not to be in fear, but you know, be aware that we're entering huge karmic shift right now. Huge. Just be aware of that, okay? But also in your personal lives, guys, you're going to see a lot of changes. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Tell me what you guys think. Comment down below in the comments, and also like and share with all your friends. Thank you guys so much for joining, and I will see you guys in the next one.